Hello everybody, happy Monday and welcome to 1930s recipes. Our first one for today is the shepherd's pie. The instructions said to cook the ground beef in a skillet until brown and set it aside. Drain the excess grease, leaving a tablespoon in the pan, which I forgot to do, so I'm dripping some back in there. And then we're going to saute our onions, carrots, and garlic for about 5 minutes. Then we'll add the meat back in. Now, along with our meat, we're putting in the peas. We have broth, tomato paste. I had mine in the freezer, so I just popped it in there. We're going to do some Worcestershire sauce, thyme, salt, and pepper. And we'll let this simmer in the pot for 5 to 10 minutes. I'm just breaking up my tomato paste and getting it mixed into the dish here. But we're going to transfer this to a casserole dish and top it with the mashed potatoes and optionally cheese. Now this Ninja is an oven as well, so I'm just going to cook it in here. But if you're using a dish on the stove, get it in your casserole dish. And then we're going to add our potatoes and cheese. I just had to grate the cheese up. I made the mashed potatoes in the Instant Pot out of hash browns, and I will add that recipe down in the description box. You'll find a link that goes to all of the recipes today, and I'll add that hash browns made into mashed potatoes with the shepherd's pie, because it's super simple. It's a 5-minute mashed potato, but it does take a minute to come to pressure. But I will add that as well. I love it. It's my new way of making mashed potatoes. So once you've transferred your meat, you add your potatoes on top, sprinkle some cheese, and you're going to bake this in a 375 degree oven for about 20 to 30 minutes. You want to get that cheese nice and bubbly. Here are our finished plates. It was certainly very good with the fresh ingredients. Nowadays I would just use frozen veg, but we are in the 1930s here, and I have to say I think they came up with a fantastic meal. Now we're going to do a fried bologna sandwich. I've never had one of these before, and I didn't even know how to pronounce it because I've heard it pronounced Bologna, and I think that's a difference. I'm not sure. Anywho, Big Daddy says it's bologna, so that's what we're going with. He knows more about these than I do, and he's going to be doing the cooking. The recipe that I got from a 1930s cookbook is to heat the skillet over medium heat. Cook some thick cut bologna slices for 2 to 3 minutes per side until golden brown and slightly crisp. To prevent curling, you cut a small slit in each slice. You toast the bread if desired. Big Daddy said no toasted, so we did not toast ours. And then you spread mustard on one or both slices. He said no mustard, just mayonnaise. And then the directions said assemble the sandwich with the fried bologna and any additional toppings that you would like: cheese, pickles, onions, lettuce, or tomato. Big Daddy just does mayonnaise, and he had chips on the side. Now I did just mayonnaise because, I trust him. I'm going to try it his way. And I had a couple pickles on the side. So good! Where have I been? Here are the ingredients that were in the recipe. How do you guys make your bologna sandwich? Now for some chicken fried steak. The first thing I'm going to do is combine flour, paprika, garlic powder, salt and pepper, and some cayenne. That's optional. In a shallow dish. And then in the next dish, I'm going to whisk some eggs and milk together. You can use milk or you can use buttermilk. Either is fine. Now I tenderize each steak and then put them in the flour, egg, back in the flour, and then we're going to set them on the plate and let them just rest for about 10 to 15 minutes, helping the coating to stick to the cube steak. Here I am making my mashed potatoes again. Now we don't eat these meals one day after the other. They're separated over weeks. So we didn't eat mashed potatoes 2 days in a row. But anyway, you just throw them in there with the water and then set them on high pressure for 5 minutes. That's it. Then you just put your seasonings in there and your butter and your milk and you just whisk them. Now, of course, this is not a 1930s dish right here. The 1930s dish is the chicken fried steak. And back then, they would boil the potatoes and cook them, peel them, chop them, boil them, whisk them. But I'm just doing the faster version of the potatoes. While we're working on the potatoes, I do have my skillet heating up over medium heat and with a 1/4 inch of oil in there. And then once that gets to temperature, we're going to put the cube steak in there and just cook them for about 3 to 4 minutes per side until they're crispy and brown. Here are our finished plates. I served them with the mashed potatoes and I did some steamed carrots. Now gravy would be good too. I just didn't do it because we'd had gravy the night before. But these were really good. I hope you give them a try. For the 1930s chicken and dumplings, the first instructions were to cut the whole chicken into pieces. Now, I'm not into cutting raw chicken, so I decided to cook mine whole and cut it up afterwards. Past me wouldn't have even done that. I would have used pieces, like chicken thighs and breasts. So you do you, whichever you prefer to do this way, but we're going to put the chicken in the pot with some chicken broth, diced onion, carrots, celery, minced garlic, a bay leaf, some dried thyme, and salt and pepper. Now we're going to bring this to a boil and then reduce the heat to low, cover and simmer for an hour or until the chicken is tender and cook through to 165 degrees. Then you're going to remove the chicken and let it cool, and then shred it into bite-sized pieces, discarding skin and bones. Now, I had a lot of chicken from this, so I didn't use all of it. I just cut up enough for what I wanted to use for this meal, and the rest is being frozen for other meals. I do have to say, buying the whole chicken, and I got 2 of these when I did the grocery haul, and I got a lot of chicken from these too, and it's so much cheaper than buying, chicken breasts and thighs separately. But I can understand why. It's not a pleasant job, but it's doable. Now we're going to make the dumplings, and I have the chicken broth warming up so that I can put them in there when I'm ready. So we're mixing flour, baking powder, and salt, and then we're going to cut in some butter, and then just keep working it until it looks like a bunch of crumbles. This reminded me of when my sister and I made the Irish scones, and she was working the butter, and so I just copied what she did. And you know what? It works. And once you get this all mixed together, you add your milk and you stir that until it comes together like a dough. And then you roll it out on floured surface with a rolling pin. And then I just use my pizza cutter to make rectangles. And then you put them into the heated chicken broth and let them cook for about 15 to 20 minutes until they get tender. Now Big Daddy said this was awesome. These dumplings tasted like the ones his grandma used to make, so I think I had it down. He said when you use the biscuits, they're more doughy and chewy like, whereas these were like grandma made. Here we are adding in the dumplings. Once we get them all in there, we're going to put the lid on and let them cook for 15 to 20 minutes. Before I put the lid on, I'm going to add in the chicken so that it can warm through with the dumplings. Here's our finished plates. I put little pepper on mine. They were so good. Definitely give this one a try. Here are your ingredients, and directions will be linked in the description box below. I hope you guys enjoyed the selection of recipes we pulled from the 1930s, and I hope you'll give some of them a try. They were very surprising to me, but I enjoyed them. If you made it to the end of the video, please leave me a wave emoji in the comments, and I'll see you guys on Friday. And thank you so much for all your get well wishes.